Well, at least we know how it works. You can do two separate recordings in one.
Yes.
Exactly. So how do y'all think that went?
I mean, you did what they asked you to do. I mean, we're just talking about legal formalities at this point. You know, the law is not about justice, and we know this. The law is not about what is right, even, and we know this. So, you know, even organizations such as us have to comply with the law. We may be up against the laws that are unjust, but to some degree, like, you got to do what you got to do. Shit, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Right.
We all would have did the same thing in the same situation.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Like
this is an example to me of how white supremacy works. Like, and it,
100%.
like, so blatantly how it works. You know what I mean? Like, if we needed an example, this is a perfect example of how
Textbook.
you got bullied by the system. Like, and just for background for folks to know, like, this is about a lawsuit that we got a set of racist emails from someone who had their email address in their name at gmail.com. They had their signature as their business name. I looked on whitepages.com to see if that person really exists. And then I looked up on the internet to see if that business really exists with that person to verify that they were a real person. And so when we have threats like this, we document it by putting it online, because if something happens to us, we needed the world to know who did it. And so that's what we did. And as a result, she sued us for sharing it. Apparently, she's a landlord, and one of her tenants didn't like her. And that's who did the actual email. They investigated it and did the email. But instead of suing that person, she's suing us, because, you know, she didn't like that we made it public. But we put it on our page and she went to the media. So that's a whole nother, like, you know, that's a whole nother level of public. But yeah, that happened. And then following that, like, two of our board members were visited by her husband. Let me rephrase, I'm going to put that differently. Two of our board members sent me messages letting me know with pictures attached that their parents' homes were visited by her husband. One of the members of our board said that the husband was armed with a gun in his waist and he was unfriendly. The other member of our board said that their mother told her that this man was offering $200 to serve me something, and then $500 for my address, because I guess he wanted to come to my house.
That's looking scary.
It is scary. And so, you know, that's what we're up against, all while they're saying they're not racist and that they're not, you know, that they don't want that to be their reputation. So, like, that's the background on it. They followed through with the lawsuit. We had our sentencing hearing last week, and I've never experienced that. That was a lot. But they started off wanting $200,000 from us. We don't have $200,000. We barely keep a couple $100 on hand when we're not getting a large something or another, if that ever happens. We're not a heavily funded organization. We're trying to build a community home. We're trying to keep this community garden up, and that zaps up our money. And if we had 200K, we'd at least have one of the buildings created already that we're trying to build. So we don't have that. And once the judge told him that we don't have that kind of money, and that he would, even if he won the case, that he wouldn't get that money, then he said, well, what about their land? And so he literally was sitting on the thought that he wanted to take our land from us.
But they're not racist.
And that's like,
I'm glad you said it. I'm so glad you said it, because
I don't understand that anti-Black sentiment. So they find out that this other motherfucker doc that did something to make them look racist, but then they say we're not racist, but then they come and do the most anti-Black shit ever and sue Black Lives Matter or in Sacramento, which is grassroots. We have to remind everybody, you're not getting no national funding for nowhere. This is all local grassroots Sacramento.
And this is hard staking volunteer work and energy and effort from people who have probably multiple jobs and still dedicate their time, whatever limited time. And then all of Tanya's time is dedicated to this work 100%. So it's like, what you said. You just gonna take the
We're all
little bit.
impacted people leading this organization. We're impacted people. We are Black women.
Food in a desert. We barely got a grocery store. We didn't even have a grocery store. They barely opened, and this sucks. This damn.
And that was intentional. They built it because it has been a food desert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're trying to do good in the community, and you want to take that. You want to take the garden. We're growing food, and you've done the research to know that we have the land, and that's your first. And then it was a lot, but
because taking the land was going to do what exactly for them? That I don't want to know.
They just want to hurt us. They wanted to hurt us.
Look at my toilet paper.
But yeah, that's the background. That's what we were up against. And so I had to make a decision whether or not to continue with litigation and go to trial, which costs hella money that we don't have, and risk them trying to fight to win our land and any money that we have coming and going forward. Everything that I've worked my butt off for, I've sacrificed so many things for all the stuff that we do. And so I wasn't going to let that happen. It was a lose-lose, but I had to pick one. And so I decided to go ahead and do the apology. It is not heartfelt. I don't think that it's even warranted, but it's something I had to do in order to get past and move on to the work and continue to be focused on the work, not worry about this case anymore. We've been dealing with this since 2021. We don't want to deal with it no more. So.
Yeah, Michael said it best in the beginning. The unjust system it's just a formality to. Yeah, you said it way better. I'm just badly paraphrasing.
No.
Yeah.
What would you do? What you gotta do?
That.
I don't want to pay rent, but I still need a place to live.
Right.
So.
Damn it.
I grapple with it every 30th, 31st, and sometimes on the 28th or the 29th is with February. Am I going to pay my rent? And ultimately I still do, right? It has to get done.
You hate it, but you have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, like you said, this is just a clear depiction of what it is that we have to experience as Black folks. To me, it did make me very sick to my stomach, because it just doesn't get any easier to swallow. And especially when you feel like the generations of impact that this has. I just felt the weight of my ancestors on my back. It was just that that scoff that just came straight from my gut, and it was just
dread.
It was dread. It was dread. Yeah, it was. It made me think, because we've been doing all this research about the rent and the impact of the inequality in housing and access and resources and redlining and all that stuff. And it just felt like that all over again. There was just so traumatized. This is happening in 2023, right now.
It's not even in the face of hey, I'm your happy real estate agent and I'm going to buy your land for $5. It's not even happening like that. It's happening I want to take your land, girl.
Yeah.
It's some blatant.
Do something about it, boy.
Yeah.
Ew. And here it is. Racism at its finest. Racism as it actually is an entire system that supports a privileged people, right? And this is the reason why we have the argument Black people can't be racist, because we don't have a system that supports us in order to act on racism.
Right.
This is a system that supports racist acts.
This system supported this racist act.
Yes.
And cannot do anything back to them.
No.
Supported by this system.
Exactly.
This system did not say, no, you're not going to do that because that's racist.
Right.
This system didn't say, Nope, sir, that's colonization. That's modern day colonization. We're trying to steal Black folks' land.
Right. Instead, the system said, go ahead.
Right.
That's an option. That could be an option. You might win.
That is your option.
Yeah.
Because though they've had to like scrape up all these donations to get to where they are now, with something that you were probably given, you know, generations back, and that you've been able to inherit, you know, with your privilege, is something that we've had to scrape from the ground. And even though it's not, you know, like being held by multiple people, that is a piece or an attachment of every Black person that has walked into that space. Like, we all feel like that is our space.
Imagine if it was a Black man that had a gun in his waist, going to white people's homes, looking for somebody, or getting angry and being confrontational. Like, that Black man would be dead.
Yeah, there would be no story to tell.
It would be over, and he would be at fault. And it would be all over the news that he got killed by the police.
And that's
or not. Right?
Right.
Or not.
Or not. That's so true.
You know, it would just be another angry Black man, another criminal act.
Right.
You know. Ugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's over.
It's over.
Next step.
Next step.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely a story to be told in the journey and the experience of this organization. Like, you know, we're at 9 years going into the 10th year. Like, that's something to just to write it off the back of this org. Something yet another something that has been survived. Right. And sadly, you know, we kind of face the adversities of one another, like Black on Blackness, right? We have all this internal struggle and all these issues, but still to this day, we are faced with like these racial acts that we can't even take care of the shit that's happening at home. We can't.
Our plate is full. Our plate
is way too full.
And on top of that, like, our plate is full, and then on top of that, we got another plate that's full. So it's like we're at the all-you-can-eat buffet. We got 2 full plates.
With no food, though.
Right, we ain't eating, but our plates are full. That's part of the full plate, is that we ain't eating.
I'm still hungry. Right. I'm still hungry.
Right. So yeah, it's a lot. Like, and I already know, like, this is my first thought when he said 200K, like, I laughed. Like, okay, good luck with that, because we can't even get that. But then when he said our land, my stomach I got nauseous. Like, I got dizzy. Like, literally, like, you're not going to take our work from us. You're not going to take our work in our community from us. You're not going to take what folks need in the community from us. And you're not going to impact other people through us. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you're not going to use me as a vessel to impact the community that we're trying to help out. So, it just was a whole feeling. And yeah, I felt a little helpless, and I still do a little, but it is what it is. And I'm just glad we're past it now and we can move on. But it definitely should be listed as one of the hurdles that we have, or obstacles that we have overcome, because I never imagined doing this work would be like this. And there's a lot of stuff that we face. Like, when you want to do good things, trust and believe. I don't know if you believe in God or the universe, or like what you call who, what, but that stuff is thrown at you, whether it's from your own people, or from folks that hate you, or folks that support the folks that you're pushing up against. It's a lot thrown at you. And this is just one of those things that, yeah.
Just reminding Black folks to hold other Black folks in a special kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, hold us and hold each other different than how you hold others. You know, we gotta understand that we're all hurt. What you say?
Don't be like Karra.
Please don't. Like,
I've seen it. That's all.
Work that shit out. Work it out. Make it work. Don't stop hooting and hollering and telling and not just like really stop snitching on each other to other people that don't have our best interests at heart. Like, this is not, the police are not our only enemy. Like,
Right.
there are other systems that are in place that are definitely out to get us.
The whole
Like,
system.
me personally just recently had a horrible experience just going to the Dollar Tree. I walked in there and I swear to the dude threw the little divider piece, yeah, on the belt. I'm like, you could tell bro was mad that I was black just because I was black. He barely gave me eye contact, didn't want to help me. And as soon as I walked away from the register, he grabbed a paper towel and cleaned his work area. I
Oh
kid
my
you not.
goodness.
And his sleazy ass had the nerve to be serving me with his shirt unbuttoned.
Oh.
And I was like, the indecency of you to act as if I'm the dirty one.
Right, right. That's
That was just a couple of days ago.
That's gross.
It is. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So, I take a attitude having or a disrespectful black man before I take any more of that shit.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'll have a conversation like, do you think you should do that?
Well, we gotta hold each other different. Like, we
Yeah.
gotta hold each other different than they hold us. Because I
True.
know when this story first came out, there were some folks that actually sided, Black folks in community that sided with this woman. And it was like, who needs racists? You know what I mean? But like, we have to hold each other different, even if we don't agree.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it has to look different. It does. It
It has to
does.
move different.
I wonder, just in your opinion, what was the expectation that you feel like other Black folks had of you as an individual and of the organization?
I don't know. I think it was, there's some folks that just don't like me or us. And I think that the folks that criticize were just looking for an opportunity to publicly say, see. And I think
Okay.
that's all it boiled down to. But there's oftentimes a dehumanization aspect to it too, to where, you're not expected you're expected to know all the answers and do all the right things,
Yeah.
not make mistakes, and not, to be this, angelic figure. And that's definitely not me. Um, I'm gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. That's how we learn. And that's how we learn ourselves. That's how we become better people. And so I embrace my mistakes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's a problem I think in several communities across the country, is that we're looking for this leader, and our vision of a leader is Martin Luther King Jr. But like, honestly, like, Black people, we all have leader in us. Like, we are all godly individuals. We all have leader in us, and we all have the power to make changes with or without a team of people. We're all human beings. We all have the same capacity to do things, and maybe at different levels because we have different strengths or weaknesses. But um, I honestly believe that people don't feel like I feel like it's part of the white supremacist situation that we have doubts in ourselves. We don't feel that we're capable of things. We don't have faith in our
Yeah.
power and our abilities. We don't know how godly we are. And so therefore we're looking for that person to be that person, but we really have it inside of ourselves. And a lot of, and I'm going to reference something that kind of goes off, but like, if you look at like the Yoruba culture, like the deities there are all human. Like, no one's putting those gods or deities on pedestals to where they're perfect. Everything is imperfect. And I think that's the beauty of that. I'm not a subscriber to any religious entity or belief, but I think it's a beautiful thing when you look at the people that you look up to and realize that they are humans and that they are going to make mistakes, and that they are,
Yeah.
they're just like you and me and everybody else. So
Right.
I think that's one thing that I think that's what I was hearing what you were saying is like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like, understanding that we all make mistakes, but then also I just want to say, like, and I want to challenge our allies to do the same thing, like allowing Black leaders to make mistakes. And it's not like you have to allow them to, but to understand that we are all human. Like, just because you're in a position of leadership doesn't mean that you're not going to make a mistake. Like, and that is what makes the most powerful leader, is the recovery after the mistake is made, not the lack of mistakes that you make. Because you got to be able to make mistakes fast,
right, and recover fast,
and recover fast.
Yeah,
like you can't just be making mistakes slow, one piece at a time, because then you never learning.
And then you're talking about grassroots. You're talking about people that jump into this and don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything we learned as we made mistakes. We learned as we went. So yeah, it's a whole, I think people expect all these different things that all fall under white supremacist value.
Ideology.
Perfection. They expect capitalism. They expect structures like corporate America, you know what I mean?
Right, the individualist mentality.
Exactly.
When we are operating in community, like through the support system of like really building with one another, like that's how we learn.
Literally building, like from scratch.
Yes.
Like we're not talking about taking a plan that's a blueprint that's already been created and building, copying it. We're talking about creating a brand new blueprint.
Yeah.
And we're learning how to do it as we're building it. We're like, oops, that wasn't in love. Let's do it different.
Girl. That wasn't in love.
You know what I mean? That wasn't love.
That is a word.
That looked like this. So that looked like the police. Let's not do it like that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's wild.
Well, I appreciate y'all for your support. I know that we're all in this together, but I also do appreciate you literally physically being supportive in this moment, because it definitely did feel a certain way. So
I'm glad to see you having support and allowing that, this love to kind of pour into you too, because you, like you said, it's in love. So you got to be able to receive it too in order for you to get it. I mean, in order for you to give it, you got to, you can't just keep pouring out of your cup.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to replenish.
I'm laughing. The laugh means a whole thing. You already know. Oh, okay. I'm going to end the recording now.